distributed to a very large email list. Um, but of course, some things went to clutter, and I've also gotten a few phone calls this morning. So hopefully, I'm going to be trying to check the chat real quick to make sure we have agency participation, especially from our shelters. But any of these meetings are absolutely shareable. It's also going to be recorded and posted fairly quickly so you can share it with those who are not here. But thanks everyone for joining. I do see Jessica on here now. So I'm going to go ahead. Victoria, was there anything you wanted to say before we kick it off?
Yeah, hey everybody. Thank you for joining us. Before we actually get started, I am going to throw it to my boss, Daisy Correa, to say hello.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Victoria and Dominique. Good morning, everybody. Daisy Correa, CEO with the Homeless Leadership Alliance. I just wanted to say thank you for joining us today with the preparation of the hurricane. We do have a small storm prep survey that we will send out. If you can go ahead and fill it out for us, we really want to make sure that we have your capacity, your location information, all of that, so we're well equipped to be able to direct any of our unhoused neighbors or anybody who is looking for assistance during the storm. So we'll go ahead and send that out, but I just wanted to welcome everybody. And then I'll push it back to Victoria or Dominique. Thank you.
All right, the link to that survey is in the chat. It is also in the email that you received to get here today, and it will be in the follow-up email as well. With that in mind, Dominique and Jessica, the floor is yours.
Excellent. Good morning. I'm trying to see what time it is. I've been on a call since 6 o'clock this morning. Appreciate you all hopping on. I want to share real quick a map that I think will be beneficial to you all. So this is the National Hurricane Center potential storm surge flooding map. You guys have probably seen this before. What I really want to highlight is that at this time, I know the storm is not named, and so it's really easy to say, well, it's not a named storm. It'll just be typical. We've gotten hurricanes before. This is going to be quite different than what we've seen in the past several years. We do anticipate the storm will be named. As soon as it gets in those waters, it's going to rapidly intensify very quickly, which is, again, what we talk about being really concerned about is that rapid intensification. Still forecasted to be close to a major hurricane upon landfall. The models are more in agreement now. We're going to see a landfall somewhere in the Big Bend Panhandle area over a little along the Nature Coast. But that does not mean that we are out of the hazard zone at all. With this storm surge zone map, what you'll notice is we're forecasted to have some pretty high surge zones, and this much higher than we've seen for Idalia. And if you're remembering Debbie, we know those areas that traditionally flood, those areas that we traditionally see water even in the rain are definitely going to flood this time. At this point, the surge is forecast anywhere between 5 and 8, which is higher than we've had forecasted before. So I really want to make sure you guys are hearing we're going to have higher surge than we've seen in the past few years, probably really in a long time here in Pinellas. The other challenge with this event is these surge are going to last for an extended period of time. So traditionally with the tides, we see the water come in and usually pretty fairly quickly leave. We could see water remaining in areas well beyond 24 hours if it continues along the path that's forecasted. So we're going to see some water sitting. So, we may have folks that write it out, they call in, they wish they'd evacuated. The messaging is, get on a countertop and wait it out. There could be waiting it out for quite a long period of time. So when evacuations are issued, if you're in those zones, please make sure you're heeding and taking that seriously. The other thing that I want to share as far as some additional hazards with this event, rainfall between 3 and 6 inches, isolated areas up to 10 inches. We know those areas are saturated from the rain that we've received, so we're going to see significant water here in Pinellas County. At this time, with the forecast of the storm, and again, remember this shifts a little bit as the data comes in from the Hurricane Center. Impacts will begin around Thursday, 8 a.m., lasting through Thursday, 7 p.m. So on the good news is that this will be a fast-moving storm, so there won't be a long time to really sit. We anticipate the strongest winds, isolated tornado threats, rain bands, rain bombs is what they're calling them, to come through Thursday between noon and 3 p.m. So really Thursday is going to be that day where we see some pretty significant weather impacts here in Pinellas. The other challenge with this storm compared to some of the past few over the last years is that hazards extend 250 miles. So this is a really big system that's going to come out. We're going to see impacts well inland throughout the entire state of Florida. So this is really going to look quite different. Looking through here, just on the hazard to make sure I didn't miss anything. So that being said, we are slated to begin opening 10 shelters here in Pinellas tomorrow at 7 a.m. And we're working on getting that list out so that you guys can utilize that information. We'll work with our PIOs. That'll all be coming shortly. Making sure I didn't miss anything. So really what we need from you all is, and I know we'll collect this information, are what are your evacuation plans? Do you have unmet needs, specifically as far as needing evacuation assistance that we can help coordinate? And I know traditionally we do with several of our folks here. And then what other anticipated unmet needs might you have thinking about long-term water sitting in areas? The other piece that we really want folks to start thinking through now while we have time is if your facilities do take on extended water, extended damage, what do your CoC plans look like for getting your folks, your populations, your services back up and running? Because we do anticipate we'll see some longer term needs here again than we've traditionally seen the past few years. Are there any questions for me? All right. Well, then I'm going to pass it over, I think, to maybe Dominique or Victoria. I'm not sure who's next.
Well, mine is very brief. So I'll be making contact with all of the shelters, communicating with you all throughout the afternoon, as well as street outreach teams, kind of similar to what we've done in the past as we start to gear that up. And then we need to set up a cadence of this meeting. If Jessica, if we want to send that out between HLA, or if we want to do that on this meeting now. That is all I have. I'll go ahead and ask, is 10 a.m. good for Jessica? We typically do our meetings in the afternoon. Would you prefer to do them in the mornings? Or what's best for the EOC updates?
Yeah, I can't remember what our timing for this one's a little bit off with some of our meetings. So whatever we traditionally did works best for me. So I would prefer to go back to the afternoons if we can. But
I think those have been 1 p.m. In the past. So are we good with meeting tomorrow 1 p.m. with communication? We'll also start our daily email. We'll connect that over to the CoC. The CoC will send that out through their distribution. So if you were forwarded this email and or this invite and you wish to receive those directly, please put your email in the chat. I see Victoria's shaking her head. Her team or the team over the HLA will collect that information and make sure we include you in future communication.
Absolutely. On that note, if there is somebody you think needs to be added to this email distribution list, please let us know so that we can make sure that we add them. We have an email distribution list for providers. We will send whatever updates come from the county, as well as community resources. We also will be sending out emails with community resources and information to members of the community. So please don't hesitate to let us know if there's anybody you need us to add to that email distribution list as well. And then just one more time, I really want to point everybody to the CoC Storm Prep Survey. Please, providers, take a minute to fill this out. It can take a while to fill out, but it can also take as little as like 4 minutes to do, just to make sure that we have the correct contact information and whatnot for your teams. So please fill that out. And with that in mind, Dominique, was there a list that you wanted to go down, or should we plan to meet again tomorrow?
I think we're good for tomorrow, 1 p.m. We'll send up, let's do reoccurring through the rest of the week, 1 p.m. every day. If that works for everybody. And then again, we'll do email communications as well. Most of you have my cell phone, but anyone is welcome to reach out to me. I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat. And I will be in touch with many of you this afternoon, or actually as soon as this meeting's over.
Thank you all very, very much. Stay safe.
Thank you.
You
Yes, stay
guys.
safe. Thank you.
I do have a quick question,
Oh,
Dominique, and
yes.
if you're on.
Yes.
So our street outreach teams will go out and have this conversation with our individuals. I know we're working on the list of shelters, those kind of things, transportation. What does that look like? I know in the past, we've had places set up or PSCA, those kinds of things. I just want to make sure that we are communicating the right things to people.
Yep, PSJ will be operating free. They are have not quite pulled that trigger, but they will be shortly. So that same messaging that we've traditionally used, they'll take folks to any shelters. And just kind of to give you a heads up, those traditional shelters, that always open will be on that list. Largo, Gibbs, Palm Harbor University, and then a couple of additional ones.
Okay, and I will share that. I'm not sure if our path unit is on, but I will try to share that with them as well. Okay, perfect. Thank you all so much.
And Jessica confirmed too, are we doing the additional sites pickups or is that still in the works?
Yep, that has not been confirmed yet.
Okay. And I'll email that out, what that means. But again, all PSTA is going to be free once they activate that per usual.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Any other additional questions? I don't want to cut people off. Great. Please reach out. Appreciate you all. Take care.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.